best way to get investment
Best way to get investment.
from a random person?
Are you talking a girl particular, or are you just talking in general, like in any social interaction?
Yeah, I'll keep it general and say with any social interaction.
Okay. Well, I would say in order to get investment, there's a few things that need to happen. Number one, the first thing I would say is you need to allow for investment. Because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll get into a situation where they're talking and talking and talking, and they never let the other person get a word in, or they never let the other person participate. Or if they start telling a good story, or they start doing something that's pretty entertaining or interesting. Is that actually going, by the way? Okay. Then they will, can you flip it around? Then once they're doing something that's entertaining and interesting, they see that it's going well. And so they just get in love with the fact that it's going well. And they don't bother to make the other person participate. They just they assume that doing more of whatever worked will continue to work, and that's not the case. Relationships have phases, and relationships evolve and change. So you can't assume that what worked up to a certain point will continue to work after that point. So you need to leave gaps, leave silence for the other person to fill conversationally so they can actually participate, because people invest by participating. You also can even overtly demand things of them. Ask them for questions, ask them questions, ask them to participate, force them to participate, get their agreement on certain points. Like if you notice you're talking...
Those silences.
What's that?
I said just by using those silences. That's something I found, just learning to shut the hell up and give them the opportunity.
Uh-huh. Definitely, that can be absolutely huge. And the other thing is even asking them questions that aren't even necessarily questions, like what do we call it? Illusory input, where you can be talking and talking and talking. If you notice they're zoning out, a lot of times you'll be like, don't you agree? Or wouldn't you say that's right? And then they're like, sometimes they're even confused and they don't even know, and they don't know how to respond, but they kind of have to say yes because they don't know how to react negatively to it, or they don't know how to disagree with it.
Right.
And so you can kind of get compliance in that sense as well. Or even if you just bring them in and be like, I bet you've had an experience probably like that yourself, something like that, you're getting them to participate, and participation leads to investment. Because what is investment? Investment is either time spent, energy spent, emotion spent. It's sort of like a sunk cost effect. It's the idea that whatever someone puts into an interaction, whatever thought or effort they've put in, they don't want to lose, or whatever time they've put in, they don't want to have wasted that time. They want to believe that the things they did were worthwhile. They want to believe that they weren't an idiot. And so they'll do a lot of...
An emotional investment would come naturally?
It can. It certainly can over time. I mean, like if you've ever been in a relationship with a girl, the longer you're in a relationship with a girl, the more she is emotionally invested, true?
Right.
So in that sense, yeah. Like emotional investment naturally does come over time if you are allowing it to. However, you can also do things to make it happen, because it'll only happen if they're willing, or if they actually do put in the effort, if they do put in the time, right? On a cold approach pickup situation, they're not as willing to put in the time. Or if you're like potentially like cold calling someone for business, or if you're in a first meeting with someone and they don't know you and they don't have a lot of reason to continue to know you, then there might not be enough time for that to develop naturally. So that's when leaving the gaps or asking for input can help. Another way to get someone to invest is by triggering their emotions. If someone has an emotional reaction to something, they will invest in it more. It's like how you remember things that are emotional for you. Like if you go through your day and you do 20 things that are routine for you, you probably won't even remember any of them the next day. But if you do something that like startles you or shocks you or gives you either a big positive emotion or a big negative emotion, you're going to remember that as the story of your day, and you're going to get more invested in that, because it's an event that registers to you as an event. Okay, so if you do say something to someone that makes them feel really good, that can get them to invest or get them to feel as if it was a significant moment. Or if you do something to someone that makes them feel really bad, similarly. And the general format for that, the more global version of that, is if there's something that's about them, it's likely to make them invest. For example, if you say, there's this thing you do that's really unique, very few people do it, but you do, and it's really special, right? Whatever that is, even if the person doesn't care about you, doesn't know you, they're probably intrigued to know something about themselves. And so by making the conversation about them, by making them a central component of the conversation, you're likely to get them to invest to the conversation. Maybe not invest in you or invest in deciding that you're an amazing person, but at least putting energy into the conversation.
I've seen that. My friend Kellen, he does, he has the rules of the game writing, and he does a lot of the routines that build the emotional attachment. And his thing is the 5-question game, and he plays it, and then he sort of I guess it's a cold reading. He tells them something about themselves, and I guess like his the time spent with that, he's got a lot of good reactions because he's told somebody about something about themselves that they haven't even said.
Sure. For most people, their own self is the most interesting topic of conversation. I mean, most people. I mean, we talk about like being in your head in game. Most people legitimately go through the world in their heads, right? They go through the world in their own little self-conscious, through their own little self-conscious vision of wondering if everything they're doing is correct or polite or right or all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, very legitimately. If you, in a certain sense, if you put someone in their head, you're making them invest emotionally. But also, if you can get them to comply, then you get them to invest emotionally as well. So the emotional investment comes from participation. It comes from compliance. It comes from if you can get people to do things they wouldn't normally do. Like, for example, this is a little one, I actually hate doing it. But and I hate the way some guys do it. But if you go to high five someone and they don't high five you, and you just keep your hand up there and like make them high five you, getting that investment, getting them to do the thing they were uncomfortable with, actually does make them a little more committed as well. Now I don't like that. I think it's too much discomfort. Sorry for the scratching my nose, guys. My voice and like everything is all fucked up this week. Excuse me. But yeah, if you get them to comply to something, whatever little thing it is that they weren't going to do, that's investment. However, the balancing effect and why I don't like doing the high five thing is it's too much awkwardness, and it's not like it just happened naturally. There's other easier ways to get that investment. So I don't particularly like that, but it's a good example of forcing an investment out of somebody as well. What else?
I've never considered a high five to be a form of investment.
Well, it's not that the high five is the investment. It's the fact that they didn't want to do it and then they did it. Right, so it's not like that it's the high five per se. It could be if someone doesn't drink and you peer pressure them into drinking and they drink because it was you, that's a form of investment too, right? Or if someone goes out if someone waits for you for 5 minutes before a meeting and they didn't want to do that, that's an investment, right? And the more time and energy they've put into you, the more time and energy they've put into the interaction, the more they don't want to lose that. So that's the real thing. So it's not necessarily that the action is that important, but it's the format through which the action occurred. And sort of the emotional content of the action to them. So for one person, a high five is not an investment. For another person, a high five would be. Does that make sense? So it just kind of goes that way.
Yes.
Cool. I'm trying to think what else I do in terms of investment. Other things I'll do in terms of. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, would that be a way, pretty much of like building rapport, getting that investment, or stimulating that natural emotional investment?
Yeah, you could say emotional investment and rapport. Investment and comfort aren't necessarily the same thing. Like, for example, take someone that maybe your boss at work. Your boss has probably made you invest in many, many ways because you have to comply to what he says and you have to comply to what he does, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're comfortable around your boss or that you have great rapport with your boss. And so there are kind of different things. Investment has almost more to do with value than it does with comfort, I would say. Although it can lead to comfort because it keeps them there long enough to become comfortable with you. It makes them not want to lose you, right? In fact, a lot of times going through discomfort is exactly what builds the investment. The next example I was going to give is in text messaging. If you can make someone, have you ever, for anybody on here, have you ever had a situation where you receive a text message and you don't quite know how to respond to it, and so you go over and over and over in your head trying to come up with the right response, trying to come up with the best way to handle it, and then you eventually write something and delete it, write something, delete it, then you write something and send it, and the moment you send it, you know it was bad and you want it back, and then you agonize and you wait for that message and reply and you hope that it comes. Well, girls do the same thing. In fact, girls do it more so than guys. There's a website called hetexted.com, which is basically girls that are agonizing over text that post them online for relief of their agony, essentially to get feedback to they either confirm that it was a bad text or a good text, or the guy likes him or doesn't like him or whatever. So the point is, if you can give them that opportunity to wonder, to not know if you're going to text back, that's actually another great way to potentially get them to invest. So that's also very useful, and that's why actually this is a quick little plug for my future product thing. I'm going to put out a texted online game product, and one of the big things that I'm going to teach in that is that at certain points you want to make it hard for the girl to text you back. You want to actually not help her have an easy text back, because by doing that, you can actually get them to invest. You can actually get them to go through that exact same like awful, scary process of wondering if you like them that I just described to you, right? And so once you can get that, now they're locked in, now they're hooked, and now they view your text back as like gifts, as prizes that they really want and they latch onto. And so that's pretty useful as well. So those are just some examples.
That makes a lot of sense.
Another great way. Another great way to get investment is to actually tell a girl she's free to go. Is to actually release the girl, tell her like you can go now, you don't have to talk to me. Or if you need to go back to your friends, you're totally welcome. Just go run along. It's cool. See you later. And especially at a time when it's like a really high point where she wants to talk to you, where she won't say yes to that, the fact that she doesn't take up that opportunity, she has to then justify to herself why she didn't. She has to say to you, no, it's okay, I'll stay a few more minutes, right? And that's another investment, because now she's making herself look stupid. Now she's having to admit to you and admit to herself that she likes you. So that's another one. In fact, another one that I'll do sometimes, which I actually don't even think is good game, but it's kind of effective, is I'll say to girls, like, oh, you like me. That's cute, right? And they either will deny it, which is becoming reactive to you, which is a form of investment, right? They're saying, no, I don't like you. Well, if you don't like me, why do you care so much about showing me that you don't like me? And I wouldn't say that to them, but that's what's actually going on. And then if they say, yeah, I do like you, now they've invested in a different way. So it's this way of you're forcing them to have some sort of reaction to you, and whether it's positive or negative, they pretty much have to react in some way, so therefore they have to invest. So that's another form that you can use for that. And again, yeah, I think investment is absolutely huge. If you can get the girls investing in you, then you can get away with a lot. And I think I said in the pre-webinar video, right, that investment is everything, right? If they're just entertained by you, if they're just allowing you to escalate on them, as long as that occurs, you're still always pushing and they're resisting, and you're pushing and they're resisting. But as soon as you can get them investing, you can get them chasing, and then you can make them an active participant in the escalation. You can even make them chase you and follow up with you. And so that can be really, really powerful. So yeah, those are some of the tools that I'll use for it. Off the top of my head, that's kind of what I can think of.